All right, ready, go.
Yep, my name's Chris Gatz, here as an investor. It's taken me 3 years to get out here to Phoenix, and it's taken me a little bit too long for my liking. I've been buying properties in other areas of the US and always thought that Phoenix was a desert, but as you can probably see with the surroundings, it's not quite that way. I've managed to meet everybody on the ground over here, and they have a very professional unit. They look after setting up your structures, looking after asset protection, making sure that your structures are set up correctly from a tax point of view, which is all very important as an overseas investor. They help you with everything from property management to getting insurance brokers on board. The rehab's already complete, so the quality of their product is of a really high standard. As I said, they've just got a team who's been here a long time. They know what they're doing, so it cuts the hassle out for us as Australian investors. There's a few different price points depending on whether you're looking at under $100,000 or over $100,000. There's some great programs which I've learned about, such as the Lease to Buy program, where you can make some really good money within a very short period of time. So overall, what I've seen on this trip, I've been very impressed and would highly recommend it to other investors.
Okay, here we have Deb White. Deb is from, is it fair for me to say, the ACT, or are you from New South Wales?
New South Wales.
Okay, New South Wales. Deb's been with us on a property tour with some other clients for the last few days. So Deb, what do you think about Phoenix, Arizona so far?
I'm very impressed. I've had a fabulous few days here with Kevin and travelling around all over Phoenix. It's certainly a very different city. So easy to get around.
Yeah, we did travel a lot, didn't we?
Oh, I can't imagine how many you've travelled, you've driven.
So how many properties do you think we saw? Not just went in, but saw maybe 15? 20?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
There's probably 20 that we saw. We went into a lot of properties and different properties as well.
And just like I told you on our Skype conversations, and I told you when you got on the ground here, we do see the good, bad, and the ugly. We put you through areas that we would not buy in and why. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there was areas that you saw that you would love to buy in, but they're not in our price ranges. Yeah?
Certainly did.
Yeah. What about the infrastructure? Did you see the hustle and bustle here?
Yes. There's a lot going on in Phoenix from what I could see. Buildings starting again. The Intel building alone, what they're building is mind-boggling. It's probably bigger than the whole of the ACT. I don't know if that's a slight exaggeration, but I've been saying to my friends that I've emailed home to, I believe Phoenix is rising out of the ashes.
I think you're right, and with some of the newspaper articles that you're going to get and see as well. So we saw the Intel building, we saw the area that you were staying in, there was a lot of tech. Tell them how big Arizona State University is.
Oh, enormous. It's a town in itself, and not only in Tempe but also in the city. We saw a lot of the new campuses, the medical campus there, and what's going on with the university, you know, what they're planning with they've got a whole golf course, and they're actually relocating it and building more, and unbelievable.
Well, that sports center that they have is probably bigger than Olympic Park.
Yeah, and they're all over the place.
Yeah. So, and then the other thing, what was I going to ask you? Well, we went and drove, we saw a lot of different properties. We saw condominiums, we saw houses below 100,000, we saw houses above 100,000. You saw all that.
Unrenovated houses that needed maybe a bit of tender loving care. We saw beautifully renovated houses. We've seen a great mix of properties.
Great. So it's something, it's an area, oh, that's what I was going to ask you. What about the cleanliness of the city?
Very clean. Mm-hmm. Unbelievably clean.
Yeah, a little different than probably what the media wants to tell us about certain parts of the U.S.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't see that here, and we did go through the worst areas, and I've seen minimum graffiti.
Yeah. So, and with saying that, you've got all your corporate structures set up, and you're ready to buy, aren't you?
Yeah, and it was also easy. And meeting up with Mike and Daniel and It's fabulous, really nice people.
The property manager, yeah?
Yeah, Jen's, yep, had a coffee with Jen, that was great.
Oh, good.
And the best thing is, oh, did I say this already about the freeways?
Oh, I don't think you did. Yeah, the freeway system.
The roads are a dream. Unbelievable. And the shopping malls are pretty good. There's one just across the road, and I'm getting over there shortly.
Well, good. So you'd be comfortable letting other people know about how much you enjoyed it and the services were and everything that we have set up?
Definitely. And I must admit, I received a lot of negativity back home from friends and, reading the media and even when I got here, but I was determined to come over and see for myself, and I'm glad I did, and I'm very, very impressed, and I will not hesitate at buying the property here.
Well, yep, and I think you just told me in the car you're about ready. You're leaving tomorrow, but I think you said to me, I can see myself coming back very, very soon.
Exactly.
Okay, thanks for that, Deb.
Thank you.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, we've got Ralph teasing here. Ralph has come over from Australia with his wife, and they've been on our latest property tour. Ralph, if you could give us a little feedback on the tour that you had, a little bit about Phoenix, what you thought about it before you came out here, and see if you were impressed or if you just thought it was a big desert hole.
Well, the tour was amazing. I must admit I didn't really know anything about Phoenix, so didn't come with any particular expectations. And now after I think 4 days of driving around, I think I've got a good feel for this very large city.
It is a big city, isn't it? And one thing that we noticed, we do a lot of driving on these tours and see a lot of properties, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah. So we had seen properties under $100,000, and we had seen properties over $100,000 with different scenarios. And I think it's fair to say that you can go. We strategically pick in certain pockets, and you could see that with your own eyes. That it's not just city of Phoenix, it may be pockets of Phoenix. It's not just the city of Glendale, it's pockets of Glendale. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, one thing that I was expecting coming from Australia is that the city centre of Phoenix would be the hub, and that's where everything was happening. But that's not the case. So it's interesting and certainly worthwhile to come here and experience that Phoenix is a group of city centres, and in each of these centres, like Glendale, you get a busy inner hub, and then a bit of a low income circle around it, and then as you go further out, you get into better areas and some well-off areas. So each area here within the Phoenix Valley has its own little structure, I guess.
And I did tell you and pre-warn you, like everyone else, we will see the good, bad, and the ugly. So
we certainly did.
Yeah,
we certainly did see the ugly as well, and that was an eye opener. How some people live here in America.
Now, was the ugly as bad as you thought? I mean, for example, I personally see more graffiti around the train stations in one day than you would have seen on this whole trip.
That's true. You see that people obviously don't have much to live on, but the streets are clean, even in the poor areas, and there's hardly any graffiti at all. I don't think I've seen any.
Mm-hmm. And are there any areas that you would, as we would say over in Australia, oh my gosh, I would never go through there, or did you feel uncomfortable through any areas at all?
I did have a very safe feeling, even in poorer areas.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be a very clean city, and I felt safe the whole time, absolutely.
And another thing is, too, I don't think people can fathom, with 70,000 students at Arizona State University, and we drove by the main campus, pretty large?
Yes, humongous.
Yeah, but I think it's probably about the size of Richmond,
yes,
to be honest. Okay. Well, thank you for that. And we know that you've just bought a property. We're just waiting on those contracts to come through. Would you, I think you're still going to be looking at more property. Is it something that you would tell other people about as well?
Yes, we've already spoken to our friends over the phone. And yeah, we bought one property after seeing a lot. I don't know how many properties we saw, but probably 20, 30 properties. And we chose the one we wanted to get started with. So once that's all gone through and we're comfortable with that, then we'll certainly look at more.
All right, thanks, Ralph. Enjoy the rest of your trip. We know that you're going up to Las Vegas and the Grand Canyon, so enjoy that with you and your wife. It was great and pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
You're on now.
Hi everyone, Scott Hoaxang, resident of Sydney, Australia, but an Indiana native. I'm over here looking at property in the Phoenix market. We've been here on the ground for 3 days, covering a lot of ground across this whole city. I have not been in this city in nearly 10 years, so it's been a bit of a change for me. You know, we all read about what's happened in the news with all the foreclosures and the housing crisis and so forth. It's interesting to come here and see it in real life, and I encourage everyone to come see it if you're looking at investing in this market. For all the bad news we hear about in the U.S. every day and we read in Australia, the Phoenix market seems quite robust. We've been out at restaurants every day. They've been packed. There's a lot of people on the roads. There's a good job story. High-tech industry is moving here, Intel, PayPal, eBay. Construction still seems quite limited, but we are seeing a little bit of new builds, so I guess that's early signs of a recovery. And on the property side, we've just seen a range of properties across the city, all the way from very sort of lower-end social economic neighborhoods where you'll find houses for 30, 40, 50,000, up into higher-end neighborhoods where houses are 2, 3, 400,000, and we've even been to the mega high-end of Phoenix and looked at a couple that were a few million. So we've gotten a really good feel for the marketplace. I think it's important to know a market before you buy into it. And I've been to a few other cities as well over the past year or two looking at property, including Detroit, Chicago, Indianapolis, a few others. And I think this stacks up very strongly from the economic growth perspective. I definitely would consider the market. I think the challenge is finding the right investment buy. So either get up to date and knowledgeable in this market yourself, or find somebody who is that you trust, and get in here and give it a shot. That's it.